Mm.
You have a great day now.
Hello. Have a good one.
Do I actually need this? I am probably not gonna PvP here. Okay. 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 Mhm. Jag har ju redan tillgång till alla de här sakerna. Lite om den. I så fall om jag skippar den och tar där istället. Enna. Nu får jag ju den ändå. Fan, vi provar. Okej, bra att jag är med där. Så. 5 kvar. Den kommer bara göra att jag får mer threat mot mig om det är den jag ska använda. Den hjälper mig med sustain. Eller så bara fortsätter jag här. Den är rätt bra att ha, ja. Den däremot är ju bara för att jag ska kunna komma vidare sen. Eller hur? Så. Så istället för att ha en där och en där och fuck, en där. Skit också. Nu är en för mycket där bara för det. Och nu kommer det kosta 10 guld, eller hur?
Safe
Ja.
travels.
Ja, ja. Okej, så det skulle varit en mindre där, 2 mindre där. Så de satte där istället. Så blir det 1, 4 och sådär. Fuck. Ja, ja, ja.
I buy and trade.
Aha, det
Farewell.
var så det var. Ba-da-bam, bam, ba-bam, bam, bam, ba-dam, bam, 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 ba-bam, ba-dam, bam, ba-dam, bam, bam, ba-dam, bam, bam, ba-bam. What the fuck? Shaman-buff eller? Wow. 2,5G. What the hell?
You know, incisive, witty, but obviously he just hates God. I mean, he makes that very clear.
So you're
All religions are evil because they mislead people and drag people away from, you know,
but you didn't just say that he doesn't believe in God. You said he hates God.
hates God. Dawkins obviously hates God. Why is there evil in the world? Usually, you know, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
Right? Would a just God tolerate all of the evil that is occurring in the world? You know, and the fact of the matter is there can be no good, there can be no pleasure without pain. There can be no good without evil. Okay? God knows that there is always the possibility to commit evil acts.
Free will, right? Yeah.
Right. But he has given us free will. Okay? He bequeathed that we're his images. He is free, therefore we are free. And he expects us to fight against evil.
But so
Stop it from triumphing here.
Then given will and the fact that you use these words hate and love, very often when people talk about God, it's as though it were some academic exercise. Well, do I believe in God? But you're using verbs that are more active than that.
Yes.
Hate and love. Do you think that our discussion or our understanding of God therefore must be active and participatory rather than merely academic?
Absolutely, and furthermore, it must be rational as well as faith-based. A lot of religionists are fideistic, which means they rely completely on faith and say that we can have no knowledge of God. Wasn't that nonsense?
Yeah.
Okay? You have to know what you got faith in.
Yeah.
Okay? How can you invest faith in something that you don't know what it is? You need at least an elementary description of it before you can predicate, before you can attribute faith to it, before you can invest belief in it. All right? If you invest belief in X, but you don't know what X is that meaningful? Obviously not. So faith and rationality are indelibly coupled. Okay? There's just no other way to talk about it.
Yeah.
So as soon as you hear somebody say, well, it's entirely a matter of faith and we can believe whatever we want to, have faith in whatever we want to, that makes no sense at all to me.
I totally agree with that, and it does bother me when religious people speak in that way in modern times. It's funny, though, you mentioned Thomas Aquinas. Was there ever a more rational guy in the world than Thomas? The guy who wrote, to every question in religion, he had 3 objections and then answers to the objections. Quite a rational
We've
fellow.
gone to another Aristotle, and I mean, just... And all these,
What if
but
we are
all of these
all
early Christian
believing in the
philosophers
same
are now out
God
of fashion.
After all,
Nobody pays
but
attention
we
to it.
just have
So on-
Well,
different
except Christians.
Right.
Real ones, not fake ones.
Practicing ones.
Yeah.
So then,
interpretations of it.
I know I've kept all of your time. But I don't care, darn it. You're here in Nashville, and I've got all these
Hey, I'm
questions.
just fine.
Do you have religious practice?
There is, yes. Well, let's just put it this way. I don't currently attend church, but up until several years, I started doing like my own kind of like thing with preaching, right? So I decided that I didn't, but I was for about 10, 15 years, I went to a little country church up the road from us.
Yeah.
Right now, I live on a road where there used to be 3 historic churches. 2 of them were burned down. Arson.
No, not accidental.
Not accidental, no. And they were historical, Civil War era churches, okay? But one was left, right? And it was north of us, about 2.5 miles north of us on Route P there. So I attended that church pretty religiously, very regularly for a long time. Now, as it happened, the last thing that I heard, it's run by a wonderful lady that actually takes care of most of what goes on there, and it's got a good pastor, right? But, I finally decided that, okay, what I have to do is go out and start talking about these things myself. So since then, that's what I've been doing.
I wish you were here on a Sunday. I could take you to my good Latin Mass parish here. I think you would like it.
I was twice baptized a Catholic way back when, but it's like I say, I was a kid.
Yeah.
One of my aunts was a nun, Aunt Sybil, right? So, I have some fond memories of what it's like to be a real Catholic. But I don't think that kind of Catholicism is in vogue.
It's certainly not in vogue.
Yeah.
When young people are searching for meaning, as you say, you looked for meaning in your life. It reminds me of Viktor Frankl, right? Man's search for meaning. He says, search for meaning is man's primary motivator, more than sex, more than anything else.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it is anymore. They just want the money. They won't even believe that you're intelligent if you don't have a lot of money.
Right. Right. Well, that's what people always ask you. They say, why aren't you a billionaire?
Why aren't I a billionaire?
That's what I've seen
Because
people ask.
billionaires hate my guts. See, I don't go along with look, they have to give you the opportunity to make money. You need to have connections. In order to make money, you need to make friends out of people who have a lot of it.
If you'd had the connections, would you have striven to make money?
Not at the expense of truth. No, I'd have gone after meaning first. Now, I used to think that, well, it should be possible in theory to go after both. Then I discovered that that wasn't necessarily true. If you go after truth too hard, then you're going to make a bad impression on mammon, on the people with all the money,
Yeah.
and eventually you're going to be canceled out of any sort of comfortable life.
And there's also just a time issue, right? I mean, if you dedicate yourself to, I don't know, doing spreadsheets or something.
Loud clear, 10-4. You got the one snowman. I'm eastbound and...
Or am I wrong about that? Am I just underestimating?
You're absolutely right. Eventually that's what you
Kan
become.
inte bestämma
We are what we do, more or less. So you've got to make
Oh my
up
God.
your mind what you want to spend your time doing. And I consider it to be better to seek truth and meaning and God than it is to pursue money. Now, who agrees with me these days? Not many.
I'd like to have it all, but I certainly
Well,
agree
I
with
would like to bring mankind back to the point where we care about those things again.
Yeah. Because of course then the question is, if you just focus your life on money, just for money's sake, just to get stuff, you can't take it with you. Eventually, all that stuff is going to get.
Yes, of course.
We'll bring it back no matter what it takes.
Humans.
Eastbound
They
and
don't think that they're
down,
going to
loaded
have to
up
leave
and trucking.
service.
Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
You're
Loud clear,
not
10-4.
going anywhere. You're
You
going
got
to
the one
upload
snowman,
consciousness
Tommy.
to a computer, you see.
I've heard this. It's a very popular idea. A lot of my young friends will tell me, Michael, we might not even die. As though every generation in history hasn't had the same delusion. But I always laugh at it. But very wealthy, very powerful, ostensibly intelligent people take this seriously. We're just going to upload our brains.
Ostensibly intelligent.
That's an important caveat. You don't think we're just going to upload our brains to the cloud or something?
That's what reality already is.
We've already done it.
Self-simulation, we've already done it. We are living in the display of a simulation, a self-simulating universe, right? And we are going to be uploaded. When we're done with this simulation, we're going to be uploaded to the source of all truth, meaning, and power. Then, depending on the decision that is made by that entity, we can be redistributed to another universe, a heaven, a hell.
A new creation.
Pardon me?
A new creation, Brad. The idea,
That
the
is
resurrection
correct.
of the body, right?
That is correct.
So, before these genius gazillionaires who fancy that they're going to upload their brains to the IBM computer or something, before they meet their particular judgment, before they shuffle off this mortal coil, do you think there's any chance that they're going to figure out the secret and not have to face death?
No. No.
No way.
It's like I say, Soros is probably the best among them. And he's far, you know how it is. I mean, I guess the Hindus had a better way of looking at this. You know, in Christianity, there's one goal, salvation, okay?
Yeah.
In Hinduism, there are 4 goals, okay? You've got Kama, Artha, Dharma, and Moksha, right? And Kama is sensual pleasure, right? And Artha is being able to acquire wealth and power. Then you've got Dharma, which is righteousness. And then above Dharma, you've got Moksha, which is salvation. That's actual union with the Absolute, or with God, okay? The people running the world right now, all of these people that you just mentioned, are stuck in numbers 1 and 2. They haven't made it to Dharma, and they're never going to make it to Moksha. That's why they want to upload their consciousness to a machine. They know that God isn't going to take them back if they continue doing what they're doing. All right, so they want to displace reality itself by recreating reality in a mechanical form that then they can control.
Do you think there's any relation between the transhumanist movement and the transgender movement? The idea that we're just going to escape our bodies? It's a
Yes,
stretch.
I do. The idea, I think, is that you can throw off all constraint. You can throw off the constraints of reality, you can including constraints of gender. That's what I think the commonality is, and I think these are, are anti-teleological, both of them.
I agree.
Right, we do have certain constraints. You know, reality is full of constraints, and we're better off recognizing what they are.
Before I let you go, as we sit here in the clouds, in some simulation of the clouds here, before I let you go, people are going to be asking, so what do I do? What should I do right now? Assuming we're not going to launch the Second American Revolution or anything like that. What should I do in my own life, even maybe beyond any political question?
Search for God. Ask God to establish a personal relationship with you. It's available. You're attached to God by your soul, okay? There's this soul that attaches you to God. You can receive the will of God into yourself, and to some extent the power of God into yourself, but you've got to be receptive. If you're not receptive, then you're cutting yourself off from God, okay? And once you do that, then you do not share the identity of reality itself, and you're done. Once your physical body expires, there is nothing that will carry you because you have denied it and rejected it. Follow me?
I do.
That's what people need to do.
I do. I think that's good advice.
I'm glad you agree.
Chris.
That's good for you.
It is. It's good. It's sort of like reaching out and grabbing. Do this. Do that. Search for God. It's as though to shake the audience. Chris, this has been a true pleasure. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for making the trek.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I don't travel very often. You know, I've told you the reasons for that, right? But I'm glad I made this trip, Michael.
Thank you, Chris.
The Daily Wire. No way.
never felt so good. Let's get this party started. Let's have some fun. Let's get this party started. Let's have some fun.
By billionaires. The Trump administration is moving this country very aggressively into an authoritarian society where the rule of law and our Constitution are being ignored and undermined in order to give more power to the White House and the billionaires who now control our government. The Trump administration is moving this country very rapidly toward a kleptocracy, where the function of government is not to serve the needs of ordinary people, but to enrich those who are in power. Mr. President, I think that today is a very good day to recall what one of our great presidents said at Gettysburg in November of 1863. Looking out at a battlefield where thousands of Union soldiers had just sacrificed their lives in the defense of freedom and the ending of slavery, Abraham Lincoln famously stated, and I quote, "The world will no longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did, the soldiers did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain." And this is how he concluded: "That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Mr. President, I fear very much that under President Trump, we are not seeing a government of the people, by the people, for the people, but rather a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. And what is really interesting is that none of this is happening behind closed doors. It's not being done in secret. It's right out there for everybody to see. Several weeks ago, Donald Trump was inaugurated for a second term as president. Standing right behind him
Let's get this
were the
party
three richest men in America: Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. Combined, these three men are worth $920 billion. These three men own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, 170 million people. Three guys, 170 million people. And I should point out, and this should tell you exactly where we are going as a nation, these three men, wealthiest three in America, have become some $232 billion richer since Trump was elected a few weeks ago. Three guys, $232 billion richer since Trump was elected. Mr. President, this is how an oligarchic system works. Elon Musk, the wealthiest person in the world and now a key part of the Trump administration, spent over $277 million to get Trump elected. In other words, within a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to spend as much as they want, he helped buy the election for Mr. Trump. Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, the second and third wealthiest people in our country, both kicked $1 million each into Trump's inauguration fund. And let us remember that Mr. Bezos, who among other things owns the Washington Post, rescinded the endorsement of that paper for Kamala Harris just before the election. Mr. Bezos was showing early on that he was willing to bend the knee for Donald Trump. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, agreed to settle a lawsuit with Trump for $25 million. These three multi-billionaires are working with Trump for one very simple reason. They understand that Trump's policies are designed to make the very wealthiest people in this country even richer. Since Trump's election, Mr. Musk has become $154 billion richer. Not bad in a couple of weeks' time. He earned a great investment. He only spent a couple of $100 million on the election, and now he's $154 billion richer. Mr. Bezos has become $35 billion richer, and Mr. Zuckerberg has become $43 billion richer. Mr. President, I am concerned not only about the growing movement toward oligarchy in this country, but I am deeply worried that under the leadership of President Trump, we are moving rapidly towards authoritarianism. And all over this country, people are alarmed and shocked by what they have seen in the last several weeks. Just a few examples, just a few. Last week, President Trump attempted to suspend all federal grants and loans in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution and federal law. As every third grader in America knows, or I hope knows, the power of the purse in the United States belongs to Congress, not the president. Yes, the president can recommend legislation to Congress. The president can veto legislation that Congress has passed. But he does not have the power to unilaterally terminate funding and legislation that has been passed by the U.S. Congress. That is a dangerous and blatantly unconstitutional act. And I should add that Trump's blocking of federal funding would have had a horrific impact on millions of Americans who utilize programs like Medicaid, Head Start, community health centers, Meals on Wheels, homeless veterans programs, and many, many other initiatives. Tens of millions of Americans, including some of the most vulnerable in our country, were impacted by that decision. But that's not all. A few days ago, Trump fired 17 inspectors general, independent government watchdogs that were created by Congress in the wake of the Watergate scandal to prevent the abuse of power by the executive branch. Last week, President Trump fired a member of the National Labor Relations Board, and in so doing, effectively neutered the only federal agency in America with the authority to hold corporations accountable for illegal union busting and to protect the constitutional right of millions of workers who want to join unions in order to earn better wages, working conditions, and benefits. Not only is that move blatantly illegal, it is exactly what Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, and Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, have been fighting for months. They don't like unions. And what Mr. Trump has given them is the opportunity to make it much, much harder for workers to organize in their companies. President Trump also illegally fired members of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the only independent commission in our country that protects workers against discrimination in the workforce. Further, and what should upset upset every American, no matter whether you're conservative, moderate, progressive, is that in direct violation of the Constitution and federal law, Trump is intimidating the media with lawsuits against ABC, CBS, Meta, and the Des Moines Register. His FCC is now threatening to investigate PBS and NPR. What Trump is essentially saying to every media outlet in America, if you say or do anything that is critical of me, that displeases me, you may be subject to a lawsuit or a federal investigation. If that is not a direct attack on the First Amendment, on the U.S. Constitution and free speech in our country, I don't know what is. But that is not all. Elon Musk and his unelected minions at Doge have forced out officials at the Treasury Department and illegally shut down USAID, a program which, among other things, helps feed and provide medical help to starving and desperate children all over the world. Presidents, much less unelected billionaires, do not have the unilateral right to shut down federal agencies established by Congress. And when we talk about the very dangerous movement towards authoritarianism that we are seeing in this country now, let us not forget Trump's pardoning of the January 6th insurrectionists who injured 174 police officers right here, right outside this floor. Even worse, not only did he pardon those people, but Trump is undermining the FBI by actually investigating the agents there who helped bring these violent criminals to justice. Imagine that. Pardoning the people who broke the law and investigating the people who upheld the law. That is not what America is supposed to be about. Mr. President, under Trump, we are rapidly moving toward a kleptocracy as well. Just before the president was inaugurated, he and his wife launched their own cryptocurrency coins, giving them the potential to earn many billions of dollars.
Let's get this party
If Wall Street CEOs tried to bribe the president with a bag full of money, that would be illegal. That's against the law. But now they don't have to do that. Today, if a multi-billionaire, the head of a foreign country, wants to curry favor with the president, all they have to do is buy his cryptocurrency coins, and when they do that, they are directly enriching Mr. Trump. So, Mr. President, the question that millions of Americans are asking is, given the move toward oligarchy, given the move toward authoritarianism, given the movement toward kleptocracy, where do we go from here? What should we as Americans be doing? And let me tell you what I think and what most Americans think. And that is, instead of moving toward an economy which is designed to benefit the very richest people in our country, we have got to create an economy and a government that works for all of us, not just for Mr. Musk or Mr. Bezos or Mr. Zuckerberg. Mr. President, at a time of massive wealth and income inequality, we have never had more income and wealth inequality than we have had right now. It is beyond stupidity to provide more tax breaks to the very richest people in our country and then to pay for those tax breaks by cutting back on Medicaid and other programs desperately needed by working families all across this country. That is what we should not be doing. But let me take a moment to tell you what we should be doing. At a time when 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured in our broken healthcare system, we have got to do what every other major country on earth does, and that is guarantee health care to all people as a human right, not a privilege. That's what we've got to do.
Let's
At a
get this
time when
party
1 out of 4 Americans cannot afford the outrageously high prices that the pharmaceutical industry charges, we have got to end the absurdity of the American people paying by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. We have got to cut the cost of medicine in this country in half, making it comparable with what the rest of the world is paying. Mr. President, the federal minimum wage today is $7.25 an hour. That is a starvation wage. Well, 60% of our people, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We must raise that minimum wage to a living wage, at least $17 an hour. If you work 40 hours a week in the richest country on earth, you should not be living in poverty. Mr. Musk and Mr. Bezos want to make it harder for workers to join unions. Well, we have got to do exactly the opposite, make it easier for workers to join unions by passing the PRO Act. At a time when we need the best educated workforce in the world, we need to have the best public schools in the world. And among other things, that means we need to substantially raise teachers' salary. We need to attract the best and the brightest young people into education, and we do that, among other things, by making sure that no teacher in America earns less than $60,000 a year. We also radically reform our broken child care system so the little kids in this country get the quality care they need and the workers there are adequately compensated. Mr. President, all over this country, from Vermont to LA, we have a major housing crisis. And it's not just the 800,000 Americans who are homeless. It's millions of working families who are spending 40, 50, or 60% of their limited incomes on housing. Instead of spending almost $1 trillion a year on a wasteful and bloated Pentagon budget, we have got to build millions of units of low-income and affordable housing. And when we do that, we put large numbers of American workers to work at good-paying union jobs. Mr. President, I have heard time and again from Mr. Trump's supporters that the president won the election and he has been given this huge mandate, just an overwhelming mandate to do whatever he wants. Well, no president has the right to move us to oligarchy, authoritarianism, or kleptocracy. But more important,
Don't touch what
let
you
us
can't
not forget
afford.
that while Trump did win this election, he actually received 4 million votes fewer votes than Biden did in 2020 when Biden won the election. So here we are. Where do we go? What do we do? I think now is the time for the American people to come together, to not allow those who want to divide us up by the color of our skin or our sexual orientation or where we were born. That's what they want to do. They want to divide us up. Now is the time for us to come together like never before and make certain we do not move toward oligarchy, make certain we do not move toward authoritarianism or a kleptocracy. And most importantly, in the richest country in the history of the world, we must understand that we have the capability of providing a decent life for all of our people. We can do that when we stand together and we don't let folks divide us up. And with that, Mr. President, I would yield the floor.
So Blizzard employees advocating killing people? Wow. Who could have guessed?
To the uninitiated, things are moving at a rapid pace right now, and it seems like the culture has shifted overnight. But the reality of the situation is, to those that are initiated, we know that this foundation was being built long before just the last few weeks. This foundation was being built brick by brick to build a solid foundation in order to have the opportunity to take full control of the culture again. So it is not happening at a rapid pace, although to people like the weirdos at Activision and Blizzard, they may think so. They've been on the wrong side of history and they just didn't realize it. And now that they are realizing it, they're melting down right before our very eyes. Look at this. Right there, that headline. Kill your local MAGA. Now, from what I understand, this technical artist has deleted all of his social media now because he was, of course, exposed for the piece of shit that he is.
It's crazy that people post to go out and kill people on social media like this. It's insane, especially when you're doing it. Like, I can get doing it on, like, an anonymous Reddit account, right? But, like, if you're going to go and do this on a straight-up main account and everything, like, this is attached to your real name? Are you kidding me?
Technical artist and associate art director of Gearbox both wish death to 50% of America.
How do you do that?
In a post and likes to their
Well,
Facebook.
I'll tell you how you do that. The reason why people like that do it is because they're surrounded by a bunch of other people that only agree with them, and anybody who doesn't agree with them is maligned as some kind of regressive, terrible person. Nazi, racist, homophobe, transphobe, let's be honest, probably all of the above. That's the reason why it happens. These people stay in an echo chamber, and then they're in it for so long, they think that's the whole world. They say something, it goes out of that echo chamber, people lose their fucking minds.
Page. First of all, I would argue it's more than 50%. Donald Trump won the Electoral College in a landslide. He won the popular vote. I would argue it's more than 50%, but that's neither here nor there. This type of atmosphere is exactly what Activision has been fostering in. And, of course, the CEO, Rob, has basically decided to double down on woke and ESG nonsense. His DEI bullshit, he's not backing down. And he even says it right here. He says it. Given the headlines around diversity and equity and inclusion of the programs in the workplace, it's no surprise that questions have come up with what the future looks like at Activision and whether our focus and priorities around DEI will shift. To be clear, this work continues to be extremely important in everything that we do. It's important to our games, our culture, and who we are as a company. Pathetic. Our inclusive growth team has made great strides in helping us.
They'll cut him anyway. He says this, but they'll cut him anyway. This guy doesn't make the call. It's the higher-ups in Microsoft that are going to make the call. And the moment that the higher-ups in Microsoft feel like groups like this put them in the possibility of getting sued for discrimination, they're gone. Yeah, when the money runs dry, these people are totally done.
Inclusivity in all aspects of our business. And that right there is the problem. Poisoning every aspect of your business. We're sick and tired of this shit. Everybody is sick of it. This is what Donald Trump ran on. This is what the American people voted for him on this topic right here.
This week,
I'll skip it. This is not the point.
To DEI and woke ideology, identity politics, it's a disease. If you are actively choosing to keep a disease in your company and help spread that disease, you are responsible. So everyone...
I think this is a totally different situation, personally. Like, I kind of disagree with the person who's making this video, is that if you want to focus on that DEI shit, like, I think that that's really stupid. But I think that, like, you can defend that in some ways. I don't think that you can defend advocating killing people and calling for violence. I think that that's like, you're talking about like something that is disagreeable on like you can intellectually disagree on, is DEI or something like that good, right? And this is like a moral or ethical argument. But advocating for killing people, like this is something, there's a reason why it's against the law. And I think that that's the big difference here. That's like, to me, like to lump this person into DEI, I don't even think the DEI people deserve this. I think this is a person that straight up is off their fucking rocker and needs a wellness check. That's what it is. You can advocate for violence to an extent, like self-defense. I think that's everybody understands that. Yeah, everybody gets that. DEI is one thing, it turns into hate speech. Well, this is a call for violence, right? It's bad faith and argumentation. Yeah, what I'm saying is like political violence for video games is insane. Yeah.
An Activision that has pushed DEI and identity politics, you're responsible. The correct method is when there is a disease, you cut the disease out. If you do not cut the disease out, it will spread and it will kill everything in its path. That is identity politics. That is DEI. And that is why so many people are against it, because people realize exactly what it's all about. And he says it in this line right here. Our inclusive growth team has made great strides in helping us weave inclusivity in all aspects of our business.
It's insane how, it's crazy how political the game sphere has become. It's because these people intentionally got into gaming so they could take it over and push this stuff to gamers that didn't want it. That's the reason why it got political. It got political because they made it political. They pushed it, and then anybody who pushed back against it got fired, banned, or removed or deplatformed. So yeah, you're right that people like this are super political because people are tired of having their spaces taken over and then being demonized inside of their own spaces.
Or of
That's
business.
the reason
Our
why.
strategy here remains focused on enhancing the experiences of all employees. Dude, get the hell away from these freaks. Good Lord. This is absolutely insane. And it just keeps getting worse. The doubling down just keeps getting worse. And then Grums actually tags Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense.
This I thought was funny.
Activision has a joint program with the DoD, do they not, for the Call of Duty Endowment Program. This is what their president sent out to the entire company today, doubling down on DEI. Since you are now the Secretary of Defense, I thought this should be brought to your attention. Thank you, sir. Let's freaking go.
Do people like Grums, or is it all a joke? I don't give a fuck about Grums or not. I'm just looking at what he said. Is it true or not?
Yes, I am retweeting this right now.
That's literally
That's what we
it.
have
Like,
to have.
that's not the point.
Know. Let them know exactly how they are trying to poison the minds of every single person involved with this process. It's absolutely disgusting. I think the veteran program should take a look into why Call of Duty Activision president is doubling down on DEI.
Well, anyway, so this happened. Like, I think this is all about a bunch of other shit, right? But anyway, this guy, it's kind of shocking to me. Blizzard employee actually wants you to die. We're not going to watch this whole video. It's kind of shocking to me. Blizzard employee actually wants you to die. We're not going to watch this whole video.
Here we go.
Like, we're not going to go through the whole thing. But anyway, so this guy is going and making tweets about this and talking about advocating for killing people. This is insane. That's absolutely fucking insane to go and do that. Like, this is nuts. Look at this.
I don't know, merit you get.
Pure
This
lack
guy,
of judgment. Yeah.
Kyle Hickey.
Is it
who
recent?
On Facebook, posted on January 21st.
Yeah,
by
it's
the
like
way.
a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
6 days ago.
It's not like some posts he made 2010.
Kill your local MAGA. Apparently, this is from Nicole Williams. Oh, okay, we got Nicole Williams. It's a very generic name.
And so you've got a lot of people here. You got a lot of these people. I mean, he's posting this on his official Facebook account, right? With his real name and everything on it. So it's not like this is somebody like using telemetry to find out who this person is anonymously. He's going full mask off.
game, so you're not gonna be able to find that.
Yeah.
Apparently, the second
Well, he
time
never had a
Trump
mask to begin with.
experience includes the upgraded fascist salute.
Yep.
I have heard Musk will have space at the White House. How not appropriate. Again, this is the echo chamber that they're in. I don't know what's going to go through your mind to make you feel like this is going to be something that you're okay to type out there.
You guys in the U.S. are closer to the Civil War than I would ever think. No, we're not. You have to keep in mind, like, we're not even anywhere near Civil War. The fact is that there's like a super extreme 5% of the population that causes 95% of these problems. And most average people get along. Even Democrats and Republicans get along. Everybody else is fine. It's just a handful of terminally online, self-radicalized, mentally ill psychos that are sitting on the internet all day that have convinced themselves that they're part of a revolution. Those are the people that you're really getting the problem from. Everybody else doesn't matter. There doesn't care.
And push forward. But I don't, there are no words for this. We got Mark Drake who says, Smash JT, imagine being a colleague of his and working next to him or on a video call and then finding out he said this on social media.
Well, the problem is that I bet a lot of the people there care about it and they like it. Those people agree with him. That's the problem.
Add to that,
That's
Mark.
the issue.
Imagine being that colleague of his and being a Trump voter. I'd imagine the interactions at work would be a little bit awkward moving forward. So you can keep saying, oh, we need to clean out these employees, we need to get rid of this. Why do these employees keep coming in? Look to the top, look to the management, look to the people that are hiring them.
Everybody in America is angry and stressed. I think that actually most people are, like, they have, like, their own personal problems. But most people just, like, want to go about their day and not have anybody interrupt them or, like, try to fuck with them. That's what most average people want.
Writing this kind of shit out there and enabling that kind of environment.
That's the average person.
And it doesn't stop until those people get removed and are replaced by people that follow the law and want a merit-based system. Okay, here we go. So the next part, Kyle Hickey, this is on Moby Games.
Wow.
Warcraft Rumble.
What a surprise. The biggest retard at Blizzard works at the biggest failure at the game, at the company. Yeah, wow. Okay, wow. Who could have possibly guessed? What a shocker.
And Paladins, Champions of the Realm. This is his Facebook page right now.
Deleted his Facebook.
This is an update from Lunduke Journal saying, this is, oh, they follow me, by the way. Shout out to Lunduke following me. Update, Kyle Hickey, the Microsoft Blizzard employee who encouraged the murdering of Trump voters, has deleted or locked his X, LinkedIn, and Facebook profiles.
Wow.
Still no statement from his employer after multiple requests for comment. And then this is following up on the initial Microsoft employee, Blizzard activist.
He wrote
Blizzard
out, he did.
Activision is owned by Microsoft, calling for the murder of mega Trump voters.
Or the employer need to make a statement, because every time that an employee said something that was negative or racist in the past, people bullied the companies into making a statement, and then the statements would always be about how much they care about inclusion and everything and how much they care about diversity. But now that it's the other way around, these companies don't want to say anything about it. So the statement itself isn't necessarily the point. The point is that there's a double standard where people are making companies capitulate to hate mobs. And so now when they see a company that's not, you know, responding to this type of hate mob, which this basically is a hate mob, even though I think it's deserved, it is, those people are just kind of ignored. I think that's the reason why people are mad.
Comments?
Does that make sense?
Microsoft, Activision, Satya Nadella. What about Xbox Player 3? I got to do this, right? Xbox. This is wild shit. This is the kind of shit that this puts you on a fucking no-fly list, bro. Like, this is crazy. This is one of those you need to check into rehab, and make sure you're good. Like after having a couple of weeks at some sort of retirement home Springs place, because this is nuts.
Yeah.
This is nuts. Because you said Max Davenport also wishes it. And I'm like, what's he mean, Max Davenport? So here we see Max Davenport listed right here. Max Davenport, associate art director at Gearbox, lead concept artist.
We got somebody mad. We're gonna pull it up. We're gonna look at it. How come a person haven't finished college, worked 2 months to earn $1 million on MIMS, and not washing his hands because your hands are clean is somehow an authority? You are a definition of idiocracy. So, do you think it's a good thing to advocate to kill people who you disagree with politically? Do you think it's a good thing what he typed or not? Is that a good thing? Like, because I'm just curious, right? I meant your dick. Let's just move on, okay, guys? Let's just move on. I'm sorry.
Gearbox and concept artist at Gearbox Software. Studied at the Art Institute.
Good
in
one.
Pittsburgh. His Facebook is still public, but
yeah,
it
new
looks
account.
like
Yeah,
he
bro.
edited it.
Good luck on your next account,
edited
buddy.
It to shut off. He turned everything off on this.
I bet he did.
But he still links to his portfolio.
Wow.
And I gotta be honest, he's pretty talented. This is pretty good stuff.
He's a good artist.
But I want to address this. Matthew Longo says, just losing sales. These people hate money. I think.
Well, anyway, like I feel like this is really like this pretty much the whole thing about this situation. Like this guy, you can't have you can't be like if you run a company and you're trying to sell a product to a mass audience, it's really bad for you to have employees that want to advocate genocide for part of that audience. And also a pretty big part of the audience, right? I mean, like, this just really, it's just bad for business. It is. It's really, really bad for business. And, yeah, bad to take a stance. Yes, should be neutral. Exactly. And the thing is also, like, I think that people can have opinions that are private opinions. I don't want to see people get fired for having a crazy political opinion. I think that's silly. But this isn't a crazy political opinion. This is an advocacy of violence towards individual people based off of a political mean. This is not like this is some kind of like killing people is crazy, right? Like, we're not talking about somebody saying all Trump voters are fucking retarded, fat rednecks that are inbred. Like, who cares about that? That doesn't matter. But, like, whenever you're making calls to violence for this, it's close to terrorism. It is. It's close to terrorism. And I think that people like this, there does need to be some accountability for it. Now, I don't really care if this person gets fired or not. Now, if I was the company, would I want somebody working at the company who's advocating for genocide, killing people? No, I wouldn't. I would think this is a bad look. And also, it's really breaking the law at the end of the day, too. It's a person that's effectively, like, advocating for terrorism. So, bad idea. And Zone Out, place where I respect you. I have good opinions. Yeah, sure, right? Blizzard's gotten really bad anyway. Well, that's the issue. And I think that the people that are doing this in these different companies, they're doing it because they think that everybody else thinks like them. And they think like they do. So yeah, as imagine working in the same office as this person. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't want to imagine, right? I mean, there it is. And so that's really what it is. It's crazy to me that it's even happening. Based on the definition of the government, defines this isn't close to terrorism. It is terrorism. It's violence directed at a group of people for political reasons. Well, it's advocacy for violence. So like it's basically a call for terrorism. And I do think that the FBI, instead of trying to set up false flags and, infiltrate weird groups and get people to incriminate themselves, instead of trying to like spawn new criminals, I think they should go and find these fucking people and put them in jail instead. This is a crazy type of behavior, and I'm gonna say that I don't think that there is a single good outcome that this is going to have. There's never going to be like a, what do you call it? There's never going to be a light at the end of the tunnel for this. There's never going to be a point where like this happens and there's anything other than bad things that come out of it. So I am really hoping to see that that these people start getting held accountable. So yeah, no, you go back and watch the beginning of the stream if you're huhing me, okay? Like, yeah, it's, and trust me, like, you're right, it's nuts.
Let's have some fun.
Welcome back to another episode of The Brett Cooper Show. I am so excited to be here with you guys again. We have made some adjustments since episode 1 and 2. We got these very, very cool vintage headphones officially working, so I am back with the headphones. We are experimenting with desk today, which I don't really think you guys can see in the shop, but I got some comments. They're like, Brett, where's your desk? Which I also did want one. So we're trying some things out, so I'm just reminding you guys that there might be things that change, trying different lighting, the set might evolve, but I'm here. We're talking about important things that I enjoy talking about, and that is all that matters. And do not worry, guys, I am reading the comments. I know that we need a pop filter on this very, very beautiful mic. We have one. It was supposed to arrive by today, and because Amazon has really lost its mojo, it has been delayed. We actually ordered 3 of them, and none of them arrived. So maybe by next episode, you will have a pop filter on here, but I'm going to be extra careful with my P's and my articulation. Do not worry. To get into it, the Grammys were this week. They were on Sunday night, and I did not watch. I honestly didn't even know that they were happening until I logged onto social media and saw people posting pictures of the red carpet and all of the weird outfits that celebrities were wearing. I then just followed along on X and TikTok because that is where I get all of my breaking news. But I do feel like I noticed something interesting because the Grammys and all of these award shows, they have gained back significant viewership since the days of COVID when it all dropped and basically no one was watching. But it does feel like the sentiment has changed. Like now we are watching purely for entertainment, not because we revere these people. It's like, oh my God, the celebrities, we want to see what the celebrities are doing. Like, I feel like when I am watching clips from the red carpet or seeing who won album of the year or whatnot, I feel like I'm somebody in the Hunger Games watching all the people at the Capitol put on a spectacle. Not that I'm actually watching a bunch of people that I respect be honored for their art. Like, it has totally been flipped. Especially with the award shows for film and TV. Like, I don't even know anybody who takes the Oscars seriously anymore, which is definitely unfortunate. But it wasn't this way 5 to 10 years ago. Like, I remember growing up in Hollywood, and maybe this is me just being biased because I was a child actor and I had
Fy fan vad... Oh my God.
dog inte ens av NPC eller skit. Det var en fucking spelare alltså. Fuck off. Ja, det var det. Fucking PvP alltså. Du är inte flaggad för PvP. Så därför kan du inte attackera dem förrän de attackerar dig. Och då blir du flaggad för PvP. Och då kan hårdspelare attackera dig. Det där är... Jag fattar inte. Det finns ju för fan hård NPCer där du faktiskt får svärdmuspekaren på. Även om du inte flaggar för PvP. För det är du ju aldrig när du är på en normalserver. Så jag dör för att jag aldrig har spelat på en normalserver. Nej, det är helt åt helvete alltså. Helt åt helvete. Inte ens på grund av PvE. En fucking mechanic som jag aldrig har varit i. Bara för att jag är på normal. Så ska vara lätt. Och så åker jag dit på det. Det är så jävla fuckat. Ja, ny gubbe. Då får jag väl döpa om